Finland's border with its Russian neighbor runs over 1,300 kilometers through the rugged taiga. Peace has reigned here for decades, but ever since Russia invaded Ukraine, nothing has been the same, as Pertti Purmanen and Pekka Kunas tell it. Both say that peace is threatened, but they don't quite agree on who's to blame for that.
I don't trust the Russians. Europe should have presented a unified front much sooner. I feel sorry for the Ukrainian people.
We're attacking the Russians ourselves by supplying arms to Ukraine. To the Russians, we're the enemy now.
Only 2 months before, Pertti Purmanen and his wife had taken over running this little hotel in Värtsilä. They've had guests, but not enough to get by. They miss the Russian summer visitors. And Pertti Purmanen likes the people from across the border. He's been to Russia many times, both privately and on business, and he says Moscow's not the only one to blame for the current situation.
We're worried because Finland's foreign policy is getting more and more aggressive toward the east. That worries me. We can only hope we'll be spared, and the Russian missiles will pass over us if they launch them someday.
Pekka Kunas speaks Russian as well. But unlike his neighbor, he'd rather not see any more Russians in Värtsilä. He says he used to keep an eye out for four-legged predators here in the area. But today, it's the two-legged kind that worry him more.
From this sign, it's only 150 meters to the international border. We feel as if we are constantly facing a giant predator. We're not afraid, but we have to keep a constant eye on this predator.
But for now, life goes on. Kunas is looking forward to the traditional classic car show in the next town, Ilomantsi, like every year. As a retired firefighter, he's particularly proud of his 1960s vintage fire truck, from an era when the Cold War between East and West was raging. Finland's Karelia has always been a frontier region. Today, the border is also the edge of the European Union and the Schengen area. Soon, it'll be NATO's longest continuous border with Russia. Many here are wondering how that will affect relations with their neighbors. Will Russian tourists still be allowed to cross over freely? Russians have applied for nearly 60,000 visas to Finland since the start of 2022, most intending to travel onwards. Now many EU members would like to see this gate to Western Europe closed, insisting that Russians can't be allowed to vacation in the West while they're waging war in Europe. Others ask why not. The responsibility for the war can't be laid on all Russians. It's even a topic of debate at the car show.
It would be good if ordinary people realized what kind of government they've got. It's a general rule. As is the government, so are the people. One country has attacked another sovereign state, so it's only right to limit the number of Russians here as a way of imposing sanctions. I just hope it can help improve the situation.
They shouldn't close the border. When Russians come over here, they get another fresh perspective. They're living in a closed society. And right now, they're only getting a one-sided version of things.
Businesses in Finland are already feeling the steep decline in Russian tourists.
I'm hoping reason will triumph and we can find great statespeople who can work the matter out amongst themselves.
What's important is that we can live close to the border in peace and not have to worry about what might come from over there in the unknown east.
But the damage has been done to neighborly relations between Finland and Russia. And it's unlikely to be undone for many years, in a region that shares a 1,000-kilometer-long border.